You're the master of your own destiny. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. I don't believe in the word balance, because if something's balanced, it's staying still. Things have to be sacrificed for something else to go up, and vice versa. And I have to make sacrifices in some areas to make sure that I do achieve what I want out of life.
2004, obviously a wonderful year, but a tragic year too.
Yeah. The best and worst year of my life. 6 weeks after returning home, my dad passed away.
How did it happen?
He was playing golf with his mates. He was on a golf course, so a complete shock. My mum's got a dual diagnosis of Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia. She's deteriorated massively. She's unrecognisable now. It's two opposite ends of the spectrum, right? We didn't get a chance to say goodbye with my dad, and with my mum, it's like the long goodbye. Who's dealing this hand here? This is unfair, you know? You can't say, oh, I know how you feel, because you don't. I've always been into sport. I need to be moving. If I don't do anything, that's when I get like climbing the walls. I came up with this little tagline, and then it's, yes, lads and dads, here's everything I trained and ate yesterday to beat the dad bod and be the fittest I've ever been at 40 and beyond. So I'd start every video, every reel, exactly the same. If you are lucky enough to wake up every morning, then you've got opportunity in front of you. It's down to you and your mindset whether you're going to do something to change it.
Welcome along. You are with Story Locker. We are a platform that lets you tell your life story. My name's Eliza. Today I'm speaking to Paul Kelbie. He is an entrepreneur, influencer, a health and well-being advocate. But I think what you're going to love most about him is he's a man that really has a passion for living, even when things are tough. Welcome along.
Thank you. What an introduction. Wow.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that is something that, do you think that's something that you were born with, or do you think that is something that you've learnt along the way?
What's that, to accept, to take compliments, or the list of things
to take compliments then? Is taking compliment a difficult thing for you?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, big time. Because I'm not somebody that needs like patting on the back or showing appreciation. I'm just very much like, right, you don't need to waste energy on that. Just I'm doing what I'm doing.
So how did it feel for you with what I said about you now? It doesn't. No. Touch
so
you?
that it makes me proud because that all that stuff there is good stuff. It's doing good for myself and doing good for people, rather than this is Paul who's had a successful business that's done this, and this, and it's all about money and success. Whereas what I'm trying to do is help people with their health, well-being, and which has a bit more of a deeper purpose. Do you know what I mean? Than
makes a difference, doesn't it, to living? Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't always like that. I was very much like driven by finances, and yeah, but something changed in the last, I'd say 7 years. I think when having kids, that's when things changed for me in terms of my drivers. Because obviously before kids, it's just like all you care about is yourself, right? And your partner or whoever. But yeah, when kids come along, it did for me. It changed my outlook on a lot.
I can understand that, and I think that we're going to be getting into that a little bit later in your story, because I feel that many people would say, look, as soon as kids came, suddenly I was panicking because, there's more money that we need to spend, but you have a reason for really appreciating that point on, and we will get to that a little bit later in your story.
Perfect.
First though, let me take you.
Yes.
No, why don't you take me? You take me to primary school.
Okay, wow, we're going back some years now.
Yeah.
It still feels like yesterday, though. And this is what I do say to people, like even though secondary school I left when I was 16, I still don't feel any different. Obviously, I've got a lot more responsibilities now, but I don't feel like I still feel like my kid side is still very much intact. But primary school, so I grew up I grew up in a place called Bishop Stortford.
Yep.
In Hertfordshire. Primary school. First real memory was when I was about 5, and I broke my leg getting hit by a car. So I was going to a sweet shop. It was my first time I was allowed out with my older brother, just on our own. And he was 3.5 years, so he was like either 8 or 9.
Okay.
And it was like, right, first time out, and I was wearing his tracksuit. I was like, oh, can I wear that? And even though I was swamped in it, and it was a lot bigger for me, and then and I got hit by a car that day, and it all got cut up because they had to get to my leg, and so that's what I remember.
Has he forgiven you?
Just about, just about. 5. That was when I was 5. School.
Was it happy? Was primary school happy?
Oh yeah. Bishop Stortford is really good for schools. And I'm really, really grateful for my upbringing.
So what was it like when you got, so for instance, like at primary school, because obviously you've described as well, it's you're finding your feet a tiny bit, aren't you? But then you get that point where you're allowed to bring, friends home and stuff like that. So what was it like when you had friends coming back for tea or whatever? Did you do that?
Do you know what? Our house was always and has always been quite a busy one. I've got an older brother and an older sister.
Yeah.
I suppose me finding my own path. When you've got an older brother and older sister that are very confident people, we're all confident. That it's. I suppose I've never had that. Oh God, it's my first day at school. I'm going to be scared or anything like that, because I've had an older brother and sister that have paved the way. And our house, we're a very sociable family. So door was always open to neighbours and friends all the time. So it was great living.
Do you think that makes a difference to the type of person that you are today, that ability to perhaps speak to anyone? Somebody might pop in and they might be having a really rough day, and, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think we get that from our dad mostly. So I think that confidence from him, because he was a Scotsman that came down from Scotland when he was 18, and used to work himself like ragged, basically, to send money back to his family up in Scotland and his mum. And he was a character. He was a big character, big Scottish character. So, we probably got that more so from him. My mum is an East End girl. So
paint me a picture of her. What was she like? So when you got home from school, what was it like?
So my dad was, I suppose, probably typical back then. My dad was the breadwinner, and he was the main. He supported the whole family. I think. I remember my mum did have a job like a dentist reception. She was a receptionist at a dentist, but that was like from 0 to 5. Obviously, I was at home all the time, so I was with her all the time. But then I do remember after that, I'd finish school and go and sit in her office until she finished work and stuff like that. So paint the picture of what the family or her or.
I think that you have. Yeah. I think that you have. Yeah, which is really lovely. So we sort of take that picture. I find it interesting that your dad was, in a sense, supporting two families. So he's looking after his mum as well in Scotland.
That was very much when he was younger, when he between 18 to however, his.
So you have a real sense of family.
Whilst his brother and sisters were young as well.
Okay.
So, but very much since I've been around, it's never been that he's sent money back up.
No. But what you're painting a picture of is somebody that's very much a person that's going to be looking after those around him.
Yeah.
Very caring.
Yeah.
But strong, Scottish.
Yeah.
Were you frightened of him?
I didn't need to be. Never frightened, because he was. You just knew not to
Yeah.
because he was big and he was Scottish, deep voice, and it was very much, I don't know, you just, with my mum, it was always, we probably pushed her, and then it was you, and then the old classic line, just you wait until your dad gets home, and then we'd be like, oh, okay, cool, and then, but then Dad would come home and he'd be like, right, come on, let's go and have a word, and you go, oh no, what's going on? What he's gonna, and he'd just sit on the end of the bed and he'd be like, come on, I don't need this. Like, just be a good boy for your mum or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And he'd be like, and then he'd give you a cuddle and then that'd be done. He's never raised his voices or anything like that. He didn't need to. It was just oh God, dad's looking at me. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, we didn't have any of that sort of fear relationship with our parents. I think our relationship with our parents was so open, like crazy open. Just to kind of give you an example, quite a funny story. My brother used to come home from school for whatever reasons. He wasn't allowed on school premises during break times because he was a bit of a tearaway, basically. So when he wasn't in classes, he had to be off premises because he was a bit of a,
my goodness,
a bit of a monkey. But so he would come home at lunchtime and with his mate. And this is when they started smoking at 13, 14, that sort of thing. And they didn't realise because my dad worked from home. And he must have said, oh, I'm going to be out all day. But he came back early and the back garden, my dad's office was in the conservatory, which obviously faced out to the back garden. But him and his mate were outside having a cigarette. And my dad just stood there for a good 10 minutes just watching them. And then even like my brother, instead of going indoors to go for a wee, he would just go to the back of the garden. And my dad was just like clocking it all. And then his mate was like, Adam, your dad's there. And he'd seen him smoking for the last 10 minutes. My brother was like, trying to hide this cigarette.
That's magic. That's so teenage, isn't it?
But my dad was like, he didn't get mad about it. And then I think that.
But what did he do?
So that evening, well, I think my brother actually roped my sister into it and was like, oh, Faye smokes as well. And she was like, what? Like, and so my dad went out because my dad used to be a big smoker until he was 40. And then my sister one day, this kind of will all link. Sorry, I just hit the mic there. This story will all link. But one day my sister went into my mum and dad's bed when she was really like young. And she was just like, Daddy, I've had a dream that you're going to have your leg removed because you're smoking. And my dad stopped smoking like that.
Immediately.
Yeah. And so when he found out that she had started and he had started, he was a bit like, right, okay, I'm going to teach you a lesson here. And it was brilliant because we were all sat there at the dinner table and finished our dinner. And because we all did every day, we very much, everyone sits at the dinner table, 6 o'clock, we all sit at the dinner table. And my dad pulled out a pack of cigars and he was like, right, you take one. You're going to smoke them until they're all gone.
Oh, goodness me. How did that go? Do you remember this? Or is this, you remember it?
Yeah, I was a bit older now, so I was probably about 10 or 11. So my brother would have been 14, my sister would have been 16.
So you didn't get one, did you?
No, I didn't get one. No.
So how did it go?
So my brother he's just a Jack the lad, and my sister was a bit like that. They took it quite funny. Like my sister was and like and just making a bit of a joke of it, but they learnt from it because they were like. But I think we all ended up like having a laugh about it afterwards. I mean, I think they still do smoke now, but
there was a lesson at the core.
There was definitely a lesson at the core, and it was right. And I think they probably, I don't know if they stopped, but just my dad's approach around everything wasn't like, right, I'm going to go off my head here. And it was just a soft way of doing something. And yeah, I do remember like just dinner times and everything were just great at our house because there was like a routine. My dad was Mr. Routine, very much so. Like he knew how many steps it would take to get from the house to the car, and like he'd have to have the car key ready, turn it in, and he'd know the angle that he'd need to turn the car back to reverse out. Like, he was very particular about.
So how is that when he was in an unfamiliar situation? Did that make him slightly anxious?
And absolutely not. No, my dad.
So he could cope, but it was just
No, I think it was just more about efficiency for my dad, rather than he had to do things like an OCD way. It was just like an efficiency thing. But no, I just going back to family time and dinner times. There was like, right, everyone mucks in. Like I put the placemats out and the knives and forks. Then everyone would, after dinner. It was great. Like, looking back, we were learning like to be independent. Sorry, but it was very much like, right, music on. Adam, you're on the dishes. Faye, you're on drying up, and Paul, you're putting them away. Do you know what I mean? And it was, but we would get together and have a laugh whilst doing it. Sometimes part of the routine, Adam, of course, would be, I just need the toilet, and he'd sit in the toilet the whole time, and he'd then wait long enough that the dishes dried themselves, and then he'd just put them away himself after that. So yeah, he's a bit crafty, my brother. You'll probably
so did you learn from that?
What, to be crafty?
Exactly, of course.
Yeah. No, see, I'm very different. I very much helped my mum a lot around the house, like thinking back at it now compared to like what my little boy does. Like, I just knew that, like, get up, make your bed. And then on a Saturday morning, it would be water the plants. We had a little dog, so like sort the back garden out with whatever. Hoover my bedroom, put my clothes away. Like, I've always been
a rhythm
there,
to life.
A rhythm to that. So, and to be honest, I've got my wife does a hell of a lot of this sort of stuff now, but I do actually like washing up, because I don't know, like,
it's familiar. It's that familiar thing. So it brings your heart rate down, does it, a little bit somehow?
Yeah, because I don't see. Obviously, if I've got loads and loads of stuff on, but then sometimes I'm like, do you know what, Rach? I'll do this, and I just sit there, like, do the dishes and just look out the window, and I don't mind it. I don't mind that sort of stuff. But it must be such there's like that, and also stuff like, because we had the conservatory, like I mentioned, I'd always used to, like, my dad would go and, what we were talking about before we started about white noise. My dad used to sit out in his conservatory, and where rain would hit, it would be just like a constant relaxation noise. So
that's a nice noise.
Yeah. So little things like that as well. Like, just, I don't know, they must just take me back to a place where I feel like, that feels good.
Feels comfortable in your heart. So you've already said that your brother wasn't allowed at school during periods of time. Well, let's put a name to this fella. What's his name?
Adam.
And your sister?
Faye.
Adam and Faye. Okay, all right. So we've got Adam and Faye. I'm assuming, did you go to the same secondary school as them?
No, as my brother I did, but when I started, he was in his last year.
Okay, so how did that work out for you? Was there then like a rolling of the eyes and going, oh my goodness, not another one?
Absolutely. So my sister was 2 years older than, she's 2 years older than my brother, so she'd left school by when I started secondary school, but she went to an all-girls school, we went to an all-boys school. But yeah, very much so, like when first lessons and they're putting everybody in their seats, and my surname's Kelbie, so you'd like to think I'm kind of either going to be like halfway back, not at the front, because A's would be down the front, B's, C's, D's. So I'd kind of maybe be towards the middle back, and then it gets right, Kelbie, yeah, you look like your brother down at the front. And I was like, oh God, right, what have I done to deserve this? And so yeah, there was that.
And did they keep you at the front for the whole year, or were you able to sort of sneak to the back?
Work my way back, and be the guy
it worked out better,
rocking back on his chair and being told off for stuff like that.
Yeah. Secondary school, your love of sport and wellness, that didn't come just yet, did it? Was it there already?
Yeah, no, I've always been playing like football since the age
of course, yes.
tiny.
Yeah.
Going to Cubs, Saturday football, Sunday football, school football. Like, so I've always been into sport.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to be moving.
Why?
I just do. And I personally, and I don't know, this is what I believe. I don't suffer and thankfully haven't suffered with any sort of mental health problems. And I put that down to that I've always been committed to moving and sport and probably some other stuff, because I've been through some stressful, upsetting things. But I know the difference between, right, well, that's an emotion. That's a problem. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, I definitely put like sport, gym, movement down to the fact that I thankfully never suffered with.
When you say that, it's not just going and playing a little bit, is it? There is, I mean, you've spoken about your father's pattern, rhythms in life. You've sort of already said that actually those rhythms to you are quite helpful. That idea of on a Saturday getting up, doing the dishes, the sort of structure in the day. The idea of sport, and activity, it's a proper thing in your life. It's something that's you're going to make sure it happens, right?
Yeah, I feel if I don't do anything, that's when I get like climbing the walls.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that's unique to me, but it's just like that's the rhythm that I need to work on.
Okay.
You know?
So with school, obviously there was football really sort of interlinked. Did you like secondary school? Was it fun?
Yeah,
was it? Yeah.
Looking back now, like school was the best time of my life. Even though like you go, oh, I've got to go to school, but
yeah,
you're with your mates every single day from 9 till 3 o'clock. You play football with them every day. You're playing football with them on a Saturday. You're then going out with them and doing whatever like in your free time. So looking back, how it couldn't have got any better. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, fine. You had to do a bit of French and science and learning in between, but you was with your pals all day. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Are you still friends with some of them now?
Every single one of my close mates at school. I was with one last night, having a good chat. He came round. He's a plumber, and helped some in my boiler, and then we went out for some food, and we're chatting for like a couple of hours. And yeah, we're very like there's 4 or 5 of us that have been pals since we were 12.
How does that impact on your mental health? I mean, do you think that that's also a factor of keeping your brain steady, your well-being strong?
Yeah, we like as you get older, you obviously don't see people as much because everyone's got their own lives going on. But and we do need to see each other more, because seeing each other once every 2 months, that isn't good enough. No. That isn't good enough. But like you say, life gets in the way. You can't all meet up at the same time because you've got plans going on with whatever. But we all do know that at any moment we can pick the phone up to each other and we can openly chat. Like three of us have lost a parent as well. Not recently, like some time ago. So we do have that kind of like just nod that we know how you feel. Do you know what I mean? Without having to say anything. And then if we do, because it's very hard for someone to have a conversation with someone if you haven't lost a parent, or I know everyone loses someone in their life, or maybe it be a nan or something like that. But I think when you, if you try and have a conversation with someone when you haven't lost a parent and that person has, it's hard to have a conversation about it because there is no, you can't say, oh, I know how you feel, because you don't. No. Do you know what I mean? So So yeah, three of us have definitely got that strong bond that we just know what we can and can't say. But as a group of lads, yeah, we're close. And now stuff with WhatsApp and that, even though you don't see people,
No.
we send jokes to each other and memes or whatever all day, every day to each other.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like one of the things about living is the relationships that one creates within one's life, and if you can create some beautiful relationships, I think that you're a lucky human being.
Yeah, I'd like to put that down as one of my strengths. That I like people, and like just from looking at the jobs that I've done over the years, that's very evident with what I've done, that I am a people person. And
well, let's dive into that, shall we?
That was nice little lead on to that.
Absolutely. Let's look. I mean, first of all, what I'd like to do is just take you back. You said that you finished secondary school at 16, so you loved school. School was like the best time of your life, but at 16, instead of carrying on, you decided, no, we're going to finish. What did that feel like?
I carried on for 2 weeks because they promise you in at the end of year 11, you're going to go into sixth form, we're going to treat you like an adult and all this sort of stuff. And I quickly realised that you're not treating us like an adult. It's exactly the same. But I left, went to college, and just did like a course in leisure, which I don't even know what that meant. But part of my work experience was I went and did football coaching for kids.
Is this Spain?
No. So this was in the UK, and that was part of my college like work experience. Went and did football coaching for kids between the age of 5 to 10 or 11, and I did that for 2 weeks, and I loved it. And still to this day, it was probably the best job that I've ever had. And I went back to college, and I was just like, this course isn't actually teaching me anything. So I left that and went into football coaching. And did 5 days a week coaching at after school clubs, and then Saturdays. Did I do Sundays? I'm not sure if I did Saturday. Definitely evenings for like there was after school clubs, and then there was members club, which was after school clubs, and then like Saturday games and stuff where I'd have a little
so there wasn't a jolt, there wasn't a sort of concern that you were suddenly school had finished this magical stage of your life, because you'd already moved on, so you were in the flow of life anyway. So it didn't hurt.
No, definitely not. No. Like, I've always worked as well from a young age. Like my brother had a paper round at the age of 13 or 14, and because I just wanted to be my brother all the time, I went and helped him. So there was me. He used to do these things as well. He's such a rascal, proper rascal, my brother.
Adam.
So yeah, he is. Yeah, he. And so back in the day, so he did this one road, which had, let's say, 200 houses, but one side probably had 120 houses. One side it had 80 houses. But he'd be like, right, you do that side. So I had the bigger side.
Of course he did.
And he'd give me 50p. And 50p to me was amazing. Do you know what I mean? And he was getting £3.45. He was giving me 50p. And then at the end of it as well, he'd get me to buy the cookies, because the Sainsbury's was round the corner. And he'd be like, right, you've got to go and buy the cookies. So I was getting my money and paying for cookies that we then had to share. So that was from like a young age. I did that, and then
Paul, I get the feeling that all of those things, they have really sort of made you a little bit of who you are, because we've not met, it's the first time, but I get a real sense of kind generosity from you, and that's the sort of feeling that I have, and that slight example, I think, is a real it's an example of that, and what sort of partly built you.
Yeah, I think so. And I think my dad as well would very much be like, no, if you want stuff, you've got to earn it. And my dad got me a little job at the pub that he used to go to, and that would be anything from helping them put kids play equipment up. I was only like 12 or 13, but and then collecting glasses, and I was earning like £75 a month from doing it, which
Oh my goodness.
which was great. Do you know what I mean? But I was doing that, the paper round, doing that. I then worked at Sainsbury's I made the decision to, what was I doing? I think I was maybe even doing it before football started on the weekend. I'd be in at Sainsbury's at like 6 till 9, because you could only do like 3 hours or something like that because I was young.
Yeah.
I think I was 15, and I worked on the meat aisle, and so I'd be the first ones to get the shelves ready for the day, and then I was done, and then I could go to football after that. So I'd already done a shift before going to play football, and so yeah, I've always had a work ethic. I can't like not be doing anything. No. But at the same time, I probably have an issue with working for people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but yeah, I think it's all. My dad was self-employed, so that's all I've ever known.
Yeah.
So to kind of go into what I've never seen, like go and work for somebody, because me, my brother, and my sister, we all work for ourselves as well. So there must be something there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally. So let's move to let's go to the year 2004. I know that this is a big year.
Yes.
So first of all, it's kind of a transition, and also using the football skills that you have, you took them to Spain.
Yeah, that was the plan. So me and my friend and I, let's get my English correct there. We decided that we were going to go to Spain and do football coaching out there. We didn't do any research. We just turned up, and it was like, you're a bit early, boys. And this was the end of March. And the thing is, we'd had a leaving party. And I was like, we can't go home.
So wait a minute. So we're in Spain.
We're in Spain.
We've had this big party at home.
Yeah,
making
you're
a big thing of it.
Yeah.
Gone. We're going to make our millions being football coaches.
I don't know about millions. I think it was just to go and find some jobs out there. We probably had enough money to get us by for a month each.
Okay.
So it was very much like throw yourself into it. And we got there, and it was like, yeah, you're just a little bit too early. And so we were like, right, okay, we're not going home. We can't go home because we just last weekend had a send off.
Oops.
And so we're the previous year I'd been to, I say Mallorca because it makes it sound great, but I'd been to Magaluf on a boys' holiday, and I was like, oh look, it's like a 20 quid flight. Let's go there, and there'll be stuff just about starting to happen now. So I think we got there like the 1st or 2nd of April, and yeah, it was quiet, but we managed to just get a little job out there. But it went from us going out to be football coaches to us working nightclubs and bars instead, which, to be fair, let things happen freezing. It was like the best summer of my life. It was great.
Was this when you had to make a phone call home at some stage?
Yes. So
what happened with that?
So I was running out of money because it was still very early on in the season, and bars couldn't commit to the amount of money that like we needed, because it wasn't busy enough to have some people in for X amount of hours every day. And we're talking back then, it was like €25 a night sort of stuff, 25 to 40 euros a night. But and I think I was running out of money, and I just called my dad, and I was just like, Dad, I need some money. And I don't know how much it was. I think it was only like 250 quid or something like that. And this was before bank transfers. I had to go to like a Western Union. He had to transfer it to there, and I'd have to pick up the cash from a Western Union. But yeah, he sent out some money, and I ended up doing a whole 6 months out there. And yeah, so yeah, he was like, yeah, you're not coming home. Like, enjoy yourself. And so yeah, and I did the whole 6 months out there.
And I mean, that sort of highlights, doesn't it? Like how your dad was.
Yeah.
Just that idea of just, okay, no, I'm going to enable you to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, if I hate asking for money, and it was like a last resort, and I was like, look, Dad, I am like looking for stuff out here. And I think literally a couple of days after I got a job, and that was my job for the whole summer. But yeah, I hate asking for money. And obviously how my dad had brought us up wasn't to ask for money. So he obviously knew that, if you're asking me, then you need it. It's not like we've never been like silver spoon or anything like that. And there you go. There's a tenner a week like allowance. We never had any of that. So for me to have asked him, he was just like, yeah, of course. Like, you've never asked me for anything really. So yeah, it's yours.
Bond of trust. So 2024 though is, I mean, a good year.
2004.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 2004. Obviously a wonderful year, but a tragic year too.
Yeah. So the best and worst year of my life. So yeah, 6 weeks after returning home from, I don't think I got back on the 1st of October. Yeah, because I was away from the 1st of April to the 1st of October. It was 6 months, and I made a milestone of it. I got home, surprised everyone. They didn't know I was coming home. And then, 5.5 weeks after, my dad passed away suddenly. So
how did it happen?
He was playing golf with his mates. He was on a golf course. So a complete shock. Went away with his mates on a golf weekend. And there's I suppose like positives that come from this story that we can take from it. Is my dad was the designated driver for that golf trip, or one of the designated drivers. And they decided on the way home, because it was down in, I think they'd been Southampton or something like that for a golf weekend, and on their way back through Winchester, they said, should we stop at one last place and have a round before heading home? And they did, and he died on the golf course. So he could have died driving the car. Do you know what I mean? Because it was an aneurysm that he died from that had travelled around his body, and as soon as it hit his heart, it exploded, and he was gone straight away. So I suppose how we can look at it to take a positive view of it is that could have happened whilst he was driving with 4 others in the car, and it could have been a very, very different situation. But yeah, he died doing something that he loved with his mates. And apparently he had just taken the shot of his life as well. So, and so the story was, this is what we heard from his mates, is that my dad was a bit of a joker as well. He took this shot and it was brilliant. And he leant back on his golf buggy and then fell to the ground. And they all thought he was joking, like, because he'd just taken this shot. He's been blown away by his own shot. And then within half a second, they realised, no, and that's serious. And I think by the time any of them had got to him, he was gone. So,
how many times have you pictured that shot?
I've told that story a lot, and it gets me every time. But yeah, I've never. So one of his best mate, he obviously had to see it all, and I don't know, I still feel like I need to know more about the day, but I don't want to upset any of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What is it that you feel that you need to know?
I just want to know more about what happened, and not was there anything that could be done, because there wasn't. But I don't know. Do I want to know? Like,
say if the best friend was here with you now, what would you ask him about that day?
I think I tried last year, or the year before, and he's a big, powerful looking guy as well, and it it brings him to tears thinking about it. So I don't want to go there. You know?
But if you could ask him, what would it be? What would those words be?
I think it would just be, tell me what happened minute by minute.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I think about it, why do I want to know that? It's not going to change anything. But maybe it's just because we didn't get the chance to say goodbye or anything like that. So, yeah. Sorry.
He was 57, wasn't he?
Yeah, no age.
Too young.
Yeah.
How old were you?
19. Was that 19?
Yeah.
2004. Yeah, 19. So, just come back I went away a boy, and I come back feeling like the man, but obviously I was still a boy.
Of course you were.
And I feel like I lost him at the point, obviously you need your dad growing up, but I feel like I lost him at the point where I probably needed him more than ever going into the next part of your life of moving out. Like, my dad was a financial advisor, so I definitely could have used him the last 15, 20 years. Securing mortgages, stuff like that. That was his thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that was ripped away from me.
How do you keep him with you?
He's always with me. Always.
How do you hear him? What happened?
Stuff like sitting in a room where it's raining, like that was his thing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think there is a day that I don't think about him. So, yeah, just in the way that I suppose I am, because my mum said that the way that I am is most like him out of all of us. So yeah, just I suppose my how I am is that's how he's with me, because it's embedded in me, you know. Yeah.
What's his name?
John. Yeah.
It's a beautiful, solid, strong name, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just
yeah,
John. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you tell? Because you've got 2 kids, right?
2, yeah.
Yeah. What do you tell them about John?
That gets me going as well. I need to show him some more videos, because my dad was that camcorder guy as well when he was on holiday, and we're talking cameras like this size back then, you know. It wasn't like little ones that are out there now. Excuse me. So I need to show them some more videos. Leo definitely, because he's older now, but I do talk about him, and he says some lovely things, Leo. Like, he'll always, I think my wife said to him when he was like 2 or 3, and it's like, because whenever it came round to like the anniversary and stuff like that, I very, very rarely cry, and if it's to do with anything, it will only be about him, basically, about my dad. And I think my son saw me upset for the first time, and he was like, why are you upset? And I think my wife said something to him like, oh, you haven't met your granddad, but he'll always be in your head and always live in your heart. And And he always kind of repeats that now as well. So, even though he's never met him, which is, that's one of the biggest things, because my dad he was so good with kids. He was so good with us and all our nephews, nieces, like everyone loved him. All of his nephews and nieces, everyone loved him. And so it's just a massive, massive disappointment that he never got to meet any of his grandchildren. So yeah.
Does he live on your body somewhere? We can see you've got tattoos.
Yeah, so he's there,
mm-hmm.
which is the first tattoo I ever got done, which is his signature. He was left-handed, so I got it on my left hand. And I got that done a year to the day after he passed away. So a year after he died, we did a golf day. And as soon as we finished the golf day, I went to the tattoo place and got a tattoo done. But then I'll show you.
I want to see.
I've got this whole sleeve is kind of dedicated to my family. So I've got his initial at the top, my mum's there, my first brother, he's not coloured in. So if you see the initial, it actually isn't coloured in. He passed away when he was born. And then I've got my sister, so Faye, with 3 initials around it of her sons. So Noah, Ike, Jonah. My brother's initial, and then mine down the bottom, and I need to get my kids added onto there now. But then I've also got in there the last words that I spoke at my dad's funeral, which were the friend, the husband, the father, and the man I want to be. So, yeah, that's all on there. And nobody else will ever have this tattoo. It's not like when you're walking down the beach and you see someone with the same tattoo as you. This is unique and took me years to put together in my head. So
it means something. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful.
Oh, and there's a thistle there as well. So that represents Scottish. And then I've got roses for my mum being English. So
the man I want to be.
Yes.
Are you getting close?
No,
Where
never.
Are you? Never. Whereabouts are you on it though?
Still at the bottom, and that will be until I've gone, because he was the best.
How do you think that he will? Do you see that parts of Leo? Are there parts that you can see of your dad in Leo? Do you think, like, sometimes you feel that we see those that we truly love in the ones that come from us? Sometimes.
I can see myself.
You see yourself
in Leo.
Okay.
And I see my brother in Leo.
He's still little, isn't he?
He is still little.
Yeah.
I think growing up now is very, very different to when we were growing up. So, but just there's too much distractions for kids now. But I think Leo's a good kid. He's a very, very good kid, and he's the last couple of weeks anyway. He's shown that he is he's a very caring kid, and he's just gone into juniors, and like he's never had trouble at school at all. But he sticks up for himself, and I've obviously come from my dad, who's was a tough Scotsman, and me and my brother have always been like, you got to stand up for yourself. And he's gone into his junior years, and there's already been a few scuffles already, but they're with kids that have tried to, I'm not going to say bully, but because it hasn't got to bullying stage, but they've tried to. They're like a year 4 and a year 5.
Push the limits.
They've tried to push the limits, and he's made sure that that's nipped in the bud straight away. And
proud?
Very proud. Immensely proud. And not that I advocate fighting, but you nip that stuff in the bud, because if you allow it to happen, then it will keep on happening. And he's gained respect out of all the other years above, because one of the kids is known to be the bully of that year, and he tried it with Leo, and Leo took him down basically, and it was one of those, apparently people were cheering in the playground for him and stuff. So he's come back with this level of confidence, and I've said to him that will now not happen ever again, because you're going to be protected by so many people because they respect you now.
Let's take you to like where you kind of start your career, really. 2010, that's when you get into recruitment. You know, you spoke a little bit about always wanting to be, or not wanting to be, but gravitating. Part of you it's a people person. It's being with people.
Yeah.
So you went into recruitment working for somebody, which we all know now is not necessarily what you like doing, but that's how you started.
Yeah.
There.
So I'd met my wife in 2009. And at the time, I was doing any sort of work to kind of get money. I was in a band previously. I'd done some modelling work. I was doing promotions work, but it wasn't a career, and I wasn't going to be the next top model or anything like that. But it was allowing a lifestyle, I suppose. But it had very short legs. And then I was kind of hunting around for something to do, and I didn't know what. And it's not like anybody that gets into recruitment grows up dreaming of being a recruitment consultant. I think everyone, there's this shared appreciation of in the industry. It's like everyone falls into recruitment because you don't know anything about it, but you know that you can make as much as a doctor in your first 1 or 2 years of being in it. And for people that can communicate, that maybe weren't the smartest or the most intellectual, it doesn't matter how intellectual you are with recruitment, as long as you can listen and you can sell, and you can communicate and you can network well, then you're 3/4 of the way there. So my friend that I knew, he managed to get a job in recruitment, and so I was like, oh, how did that happen? Like, tell me. And he had 4 years of sales experience behind him. So this was my issue. I wasn't a grad, which everyone only took grads on, or people with sales experience, and I had neither. So I was on the back foot already. But I suppose where I'd been doing promotions work, modelling work, and always shown that I was driven by money, that was kind of my secret weapon, I suppose, because every interview that I got offered. And you
didn't stay long though, did you? Not really. A few years.
So the first job I got was for an IT recruitment company, and that I was the top billing. excuse me. I was the top billing rookie out of everyone that joined at that time. But it was IT, and I don't know. Obviously IT is a great industry, but the people that I was speaking with, there was no real, what's the word that I'm looking for? We didn't really have anything in common.
You're looking for heart, man. You like heart and passion, don't you?
Yeah. Like the people that I was speaking to were very like the kind of jobs that we were recruiting for. They either had to go to like a top red brick university, and were guys that sat in rooms by themselves with their earphones on and sat at computers developing code. And that just didn't excite me. I think the whole making money excited me. And then, funny enough, the guys that placed me into that job, they were an agency that helped people find their first job in recruitment. When I first met them, I asked them the question because I was blown away by these two lads. They were both just a year older than me. No, one was the same age as me, one was a year older than me, but it was just those two, and I liked that, something small. They took me, when I first met them, to the Mayfair Hotel. They took me to this private members club, and I was just like in Berkeley Square, and I was just like, I was like, this is more it for me. And dealing with salespeople because they are my kind of people.
Mm.
And I think I asked them when I first met them, instead of saying, "Can I work for you?" Naturally, the question that I asked was, "What do I have to do to work for you?" And they remembered that, and they were like, "Nobody's ever asked us that. It's always been, oh, can I get a job with you?" And it's like, yes or no. But because I asked the question of, what do I have to do to get a job with you? They were like, right, go and get 6 months experience. So they obviously wanted to make sure that they placed me, got a fee from me, and made sure that I stayed for a certain amount of time, because if I didn't, then they'd have to give money back.
Okay.
And they were like, let's see how you get on. So from day one of me joining that company that they placed me in, I had in the back of my mind that I wanted to work for them. Like, so I've got to make a good impression. And the first job I went into, because I'd come from a background of, like, I used to love a gamble when I was younger, and I went into these interviews of, and at the time, like, the basic salaries of recruitment were like 18 to 20K. And I was on more than that. So I was taking a step back to obviously take big steps forward. But I knew how to, like, I don't get stressed if I'm skint, basically, because I've been skint. I've been below skint, if that makes sense. And I kind of, when I went into the job interview that I got, I said to them, look, how much money can I make in my first year? And they said, oh, you could make this. And because of the questioning that I'd already gave them, they said to me, they told me I asked them what the commission structure was. They told me what it was. And then, so in my head, I was calculating all this stuff up. And then I said, well, what did your top billing rookie do last year? And they said, yeah, he billed this much. And I said, well, that doesn't add up, because if I do that, that's your basic salary. You've told me that I'm not going to bill for my first 3 months because I'm learning the job. So that leaves me 9 months to bill that much. Your commission structure is this. You're lying to me. And they were like, okay. And I said, this isn't going to work. I need you to be honest with me. Like, how quickly can I start making commission? They said, look, well, if you did a deal in your first month, you'll earn commission the following month. And I was like, okay, well, that's what's going to happen. And they said, yeah, but it won't. I said, I bet you my first month's salary that if I don't do a deal in my first month, you don't have to pay. You don't have to give me my month's salary. And they went, we're not going to do that, but we love that. And I did it in 21 days. So I did my first deal in 21 days.
That's amazing. So look, anybody that's listening to you right now, they will have heard what you said a few moments ago. I'm not scared of being skint.
Yeah.
Most of us are. Why aren't you?
Because I've been skint.
Most of us have.
Yeah.
So?
And
what's your trick?
What's the best way to, I don't know.
Why doesn't having no money scare you?
Because I know if I switch it on, I can make money.
Switch what on?
Just it. Like the je ne sais quoi, if you know what I mean. Just, I know that if I'm pushed into a situation, I'll turn things around. And I like that stress. Okay. I do, for some reason. It's maybe a bit weird, but I think if you've got something to fall back on, I suppose like with growing up, like, I never was given money I had to make my own pocket money from doing jobs or for working. So that has kind of been instilled in me, that from a young age, that if you want to take control, if you want things to happen, you've got to take control, basically.
You did. Okay. So, I mean, you did take control. You set up your own, 2013, right? You set up a business. Was that the first one? Yeah.
So 2010, I got that first job in recruitment. And then I was there for 6 months, and then I said to the guys that placed me there, I said, look, I'm ready now to join you. So this was 2011. They said, no, we're not ready. And I said, all right, fine. And I think I contacted 2 of their competitors, and the original guys I don't know how, they found out within an hour that I'd spoken to a competitor, and then they called me back and was like, right, come and meet us tomorrow. And then they offered me the next day. So I made that happen. And then I started their graduate and entry level department, I suppose. And I was their top biller for 2.5 years. And then the guys that were the owners, they started going their own separate ways. One wanted to go on to bigger and better things, and one wanted to go into a different industry. And so I was kind of left like, okay, well, what do I do? And I was like, oh, it kind of forced me into, like, I don't want to go and work for someone. So, and I suppose when you're in a company of 2 or 3, it's very different to being in a big corporate
You have
business.
to be a jack of all trades, right? Anyway,
yes.
Yeah.
And so I started my own thing, put myself under a huge amount of pressure straight away. We got I think the normal person would have maybe worked from their kitchen table or their bedroom for until money was coming in, but we had a little bit of money, and I put it straight into a $2,500 a month rent office right next to the Mayfair Hotel, because perception was everything.
Was that a good decision?
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah, because but this was before video calls and video interviews and stuff like that.
Very ballsy, though.
Yeah. And what I wanted every young, like either grad or salesperson coming to meet me feel was how I felt when I met those 2 guys, which was Private Members Club, Mayfair Hotel. And so we got an office right next to the Mayfair Hotel, little 2-3 man office, half the size of this room that we're in. Tiny window, but it had the address, and it had and so when people would turn up, when these young guys would turn up, come out of the station, they'd go to the reception of the building, which the reception was for about 30 different offices, not just ours. But then I'd come down the stairs and go, oh, it's too busy up there. It's too noisy. Let's go outside. And it wasn't too noisy. There was 2 of us in a room, basically. Let's go next door. And I'd rock up at the Mayfair Hotel, bottle of still water, interview these guys, and they've then gone, wow, I'm in the middle of the most luxurious part of London.
It's very tempting.
And yeah, so I think in my first 3 months, I had back-to-back 30K months. So I billed in my first 3 months, like 90 grand, which is good performance.
It really is. I as you were telling me that story, I remembered reading a little bit about, I never know how to say his name, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So I remember he did an interview, and what he said was that through his life, his successes, he's always looked, he's seen something, created a picture, found a mentor, or the mentor has found him, and moved forward, and his life has moved forward like that.
Yeah.
So your story suddenly started to remind me a little bit of that, a very sort of perhaps subconscious, something in the background, searching for the right people, the right vision, the right picture, and then moving into that, and then moving forward, because you are a bit of a butterfly. You have moved, you adapt, you know how to change when things get tough.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that? Is that something?
Yeah, I do. I think the 2 guys that I went to work for, they really took me under their wing, and because I was their top performer, but they were very generous anyway. And I loved that about them, and it made me realize. I don't know. I suppose when you have a scarcity mindset, you think, how is that possible to make that money? But then these guys opened up a new, and obviously there was a lot of self-development going on in the background as well. But it was more like, look, the more open and generous you are, the more you will get back. And there was points that the sort of money that was bringing into the company, it was like, how are people paying us this amount of money to do this job? But my driver at that point wasn't to be the wealthiest, it was to be the most successful. And I think when you go in with that mentality, rather than chasing the money, but actually chasing the success and the what's the word that I'm looking for? When you chase that you want to be known as the best in the market, money is the byproduct. And I think that's why we hit it off.
So you're already making that switch. You described that. You said initially you started out, where finance was the thing, it was the driver. And then so we're seeing this slight change or understanding about life and how it works potentially.
That's it, yeah.
That it starts to move.
Yeah.
But then down the line as well, there must be a shift as well. I mean, your dad must have created some sort of shift in your body about time, about life, about living, which may have started playing into how you view.
I think so. I think what was a big game changer for me was when kids come along, when Leo came along. Because up until that point, I was still, yes, I had a company of 11 or 12 people, but I was still the top person within the company. I was still very much the most active salesperson. And with that, up until that point, and probably for the first year or so of Leo's life, because of the nature of the market that we were in, which is dealing with salespeople and recruiters, like to enjoy themselves, and I kind of would have to facilitate, like, the best time for me to meet people and to chat to recruiters about work would be in the pub, basically, or in bars. And so, yeah, a lot of our work was done in the evenings when people were out enjoying themselves, getting them. They were recruiters when they start having a drink. They'll start talking more and saying, "Oh, that person's unhappy. And then that's how you generate business, because will introduce me and tell them what I do, and then that's. We were very good on paying people like referral fees. That's how.
Yes.
We had people coming to us all the time.
So Leo arrives. You're living this lifestyle. Something switches slightly. When do you move into travel?
So
is that how it is? I mean, when did the recruitment start to? When did your brain decide to move away from recruitment?
I think because I'd seen that I could make money in recruitment, I then wanted to. But at the same time, I didn't want to be a recruitment consultant for the rest of my life.
No.
And I think, like, when you have a young one, like, I was getting up before Leo was even awake and leaving the house, and I was getting in probably as he was just about to go to bed, or if not, he was already in bed. So
how did that feel? Because that wasn't the picture that you had as a child growing up, was it?
It was.
Was your dad out all the time?
My dad was out, and he worked from home, but I was at school. Do you know what I mean? And then he would then go and meet people.
Oh, and then he would go out in the afternoon, right?
Evenings, yeah.
Oh, so it worked out, yeah.
So yeah, a vivid memory of my dad would be every day when he did come in, we'd be at the dinner table. This was when when I'm under the age of 7, I think. And he'd do this. Oh, what's that behind your ear? To all of us, and we're like, "How the hell is he doing that?" And he'd pull a Cadbury's cream egg out.
So sweet.
So that is a vivid memory. But
So back to you, Leo.
Yeah, so
you're working really long hours.
Yeah, and I think there was a kind of a whole group of things that I was like, right, do I want to be a recruitment consultant for the rest of my life? Because you're speaking to different people every day, but it is the same process every day. Can I grow this business and scale it? I don't think I can, because of the market that we're in. It's not a massively scalable market. I don't know. I was getting bored of recruitment.
There we are. Boom.
I was getting bored of recruitment as well, and I like tried to do like a watch competition, like a luxury watch competition, which I put some money into, and it didn't work out. But then I could see, right, my attention is going elsewhere now.
So we've got Rachel, we've got Leo at home. We've got this big job happening, but now you're suddenly realizing that this isn't actually what we're really looking for. Are you keeping this bubbling along as you move into other ventures and test other waters?
Yeah, of course. I was still the top performer at my company, and I had to show that like I couldn't switch off, because if people see that I'm switching off, then
when did you let go of that side and move into the next thing?
It was kind of forced upon me because the pandemic happened.
Okay.
So 2020 came along, and what I thought it was going to be a flash in the pan thing over in 6 weeks and back to normal. But our market, the recruitment industry, had to respond very quickly because people were letting go of people, and recruiters started getting let go. And obviously I place recruiters, so there's all these recruiters on the market, but there's no jobs. And so I eventually had to let go of all my team as well, because we couldn't afford to keep them on. And that's when...
How did that feel?
In a way, weirdly, a little bit of a relief. When you're in a small company, it's tough. Not tough. You are with these people every single day, and they are like, I know it's like quite cheesy to say, but like they are like your family. You're spending more time with them than you are your family. You know, you're in an office the size of this room, with 5-6 people, and you're close all day long. And but when you're the owner of that business, and maybe people aren't pulling their weight, that can kind of, you start feeling a little bit of resentment towards those people, because that's when you've got a kid as well. It's like, well, that's...
Time is precious, right?
Time is precious, but also
people around.
If you haven't performed that month, I'm still paying you your salary. But that's money that, if you haven't done one deal in the month, then that's money that's coming out of my son's mouth. Do you know what I mean? And clothes on my son's back. And so I was starting, and probably this is where my management skills weren't the best, that I probably could have shown a better, because I've never had like a manager, or like apart from the 2 years where I worked for the other guys, I've never had like management training or anything like that. And I probably could have dealt with people better, but at the same time, they were like my mates, and it's hard to... One minute you're having a joke with someone, but then you've got to be like you've got to, and this was just where I wasn't experienced enough in it, with dealing with it. But yeah, it came as a bit of a relief, because it kind of gave me the, like, I have to let go of you, because there is no other way. And what worked me up, because I do care about people, I was like, are they going to be all right? Like that was, when you're the owner of a company and you have to make loads of people redundant, it's not a nice feeling at all. But thankfully, all of them got positions
and moved on.
Got paid more in the weeks that followed, basically.
We have Rachel, Leo, and is it a daughter?
Yeah, Delilah.
When did Delilah arrive?
Delilah turned up in 2023, so she's nearly 2 now. So December 23. Yeah.
Is it true what they say about dads and daughters?
Absolutely.
Is it?
Oh, she is delightful Delilah. She? Yeah, she is. She's incredible. I always thought I would just be a boy dad. We had surprises with both of them, and yeah, I just wasn't sure how I'd feel about having a daughter, but honestly, she's just phenomenal. Yeah, we got a really, really close relationship. She's beautiful. She's great.
I mean, you're still working towards being the man that John was. how does that play into what, I mean, do you sit and judge yourself with what you're doing as a dad, as your job as a dad? How does it work for you, having that in the back? Because in a sense, you're a dad. Are you a granddad too? I don't know. Are you trying to find things that John had to put in there for them?
No, it's tough. It's tough because I'm a dad that hasn't got a guaranteed income. I'm self-employed, and so there's so many things pulling you. Like, I grew up in quite a stoic sort of household, I suppose, and I do have stoic views on things, and it's hard when you you should be spending as much time with your children. I completely get that, and of course I want to, but at the same time, I don't believe in the word balance, because if something's balanced, it's staying still, and things have to be sacrificed for something else to go up, and vice versa. And I don't have the luxury of having hundreds of thousands of pounds right now, but I have to make sacrifices in some areas to make sure that I do achieve what I want out of life, and that they in the future will get the best out of life as well.
I actually like that, because it's quite easy sometimes to throw yourself into being a parent and forget who you are, and actually the kids really need to know who you are.
Yeah,
it's important, right?
Yeah. I think it's definitely over the last few years has been, because I've been so adamant that I don't want to go back into recruitment, and I've kind of dug my heels in and said that no, I don't want to. From the outside looking in, I've always been quite like, people know what I'm doing, and then the moment that people go, "What is it that you do now?" That's when you don't become like a specialist, because you're doing loads of different things.
Yes,
and so that's like.
Is that hard?
It's so hard.
It is hard.
It is so hard, because money, like I say, money was so good in recruitment. And the only reason I got into travel was because I was going on so many holidays at the time that I thought, right, well, if I become an independent travel agent, I'll be able to save on all my own holidays. And the cost of me becoming an independent travel agent is 500 quid a year. But then I can access savings as a travel professional. And if I go on 4 or 5 holidays a year, then I'm going to be quids in.
It works out.
So that was the only reason I got into travel.
I think that what would be interesting to talk about, I mean, I know that this week on Monday, for instance, we had quite a lovely event. I think it was Monday the Run, but we can talk about that in a second. I think I'd like to talk a little bit about your growing Instagram follower and your feelings towards your followers.
Yeah.
But I think before we do that, I would like to touch, we've spoken about your father, and I know that life at the moment, right now, today for you, isn't easy. Again, you're in a challenging position with your mother.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I've seen that I don't know if you've done the marathon already for her, or whether you're going to. What is it that she's suffering with?
So my mum's got a dual diagnosis of Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia.
How long have you noticed this?
So she got diagnosed at the start of 2024. I mean, it's mad, because I was looking back at photos on my phone that popped up literally the other day, and it was my son's 4th birthday, and he's only 7 now. So this was 3 years ago, and she did videos, and like, she's fine, like absolutely fine. Then the last year and a half, 2 years, she's literally, we've now had to put her in a care home, because she can't be at home on her own. Obviously she hasn't got my dad. And we all live, my brother lives in Spain, I live an hour away, my sister lives half an hour away. And it's just not safe for her to be at home by herself, because the level of care that she now needs is a lot. And she's deteriorated massively, which is, if you'd met my mum 2-3 years ago, she's unrecognisable now, because she went from being a social butterfly to now, like, she didn't leave her house. She now struggles with speech, and everything else that comes with the stages of dementia, basically.
I mean, just like you said about when you want to talk with somebody if they haven't lost their parent, it must feel the same with this. If somebody hasn't seen a parent go through this, actually the speaking about it must be quite challenging. What was it like when you had to decide to put her somewhere that wasn't her home?
It's tough, really tough, because she's house proud. She's always she always has been house proud, and but it came. It's you do have to think, right, this is you have to make that decision between myself, my brother and sister, because she can't make decisions now. Like, she can't make any choices, and it's for her safety. Like, we had like these like Ring video cameras that are in the house, and just to make sure that, because she didn't have like a living in carer, that she's okay. Do you know what I mean? And then we start seeing her fall, and it's not nice. And so it was a hard decision, but it's definitely the best decision. Like, we took our time with looking at different care homes. She's in a lovely care home now. And she understands that she needs to be there as well.
Does she remember you?
Yeah. She's still very much.
Okay,
yeah,
so she knows
but
you.
It's like her brain doesn't connect. What she's thinking doesn't come out.
Yes.
And what she's trying to get out, her brain isn't putting together. And then something else will trigger that, and she'll be then speaking about something else, and you're trying to make the story connect somehow, and you kind of just have to go, okay, yeah, because you then don't. If you then show that, if you're like, well, what are you saying?
Yeah,
they then will become frustrated, and so yeah, it's not a nice illness at all. It's horrible, and I was having this conversation with my friend that I was out for dinner with last night, and it's like, which, obviously, the perfect death, is that a way to say it? The perfect way for someone to go, you would hope, is that they go to bed and they don't wake up.
Yes.
But obviously, going through what we did with my dad, and now going through this two opposite ends of the spectrum, right? We didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and with my dad, and with my mum, it's like the long goodbye, if that makes sense, because she's going. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
But at the same time, she's going, but forgetting us at the same time, if that makes sense. So, and you don't want your last memories of someone to be that you're going to see them in a care home, and if and this hasn't happened yet, but it will. That is inevitable. Is that you go to spend time with them, and they're looking through you like they don't know who you are. So it's awful.
I think that one of the questions that I have is the feelings. How do your feelings change? Do your feelings? You have a person in front of you, the person that you've known all your life, that's there and solid, and then slowly they are changing. How do you cope with that? And do you tell yourself off if your feelings do actually change towards her? I mean, I don't know.
No, they definitely don't. No,
the love is still there, big.
Oh, unbelievable.
Oh, my love.
Yeah. it's one of those that obviously with the illness things do only get worse. There's no chance of them coming back. But I spoke to a friend a little while back, and he was like, the further you get down the line, the more you'll appreciate the time right now. So, and by that he meant,
yes,
that's how she is right now, but there'll be a time in the future where you wish she was like how she is right now, even though she's like right now. This was when she could still talk, and she was doing bits and bobs for herself, but we thought at the time, God, this is rough, this is hard. And now where she is now, I'd do anything to have that back. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, and probably in 2 or 3 months from now, I'd want anything for her to be like she is now, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What is it that you miss most?
She could speak with anyone. Like I said, we're a very open family. And my wife struggles with it. Because like we've still got like the WhatsApp conversation thread from when she was fine, and my wife's gone through conversations, and she's like, I can't believe what's happened in 2 years, that these are the conversations we were having, as when now she can't speak, she can't communicate that well. So it's yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a horrid illness, and it affects absolutely everyone. But it's life, unfortunately, and you do just have to keep moving forward, and you just have to play with the hands that you're dealt with. And we're very lucky that we have had an amazing family upbringing, that we do have those memories. We could have been a horrible family that never got on, and then you then have those regrets. You could have those regrets in when it gets to someone being on their deathbed, that if someone is on their deathbed and they're coherent, that you could maybe put things right before they pass away. We don't have to do that, because we've got amazing memories. It's not like,
that's beautiful.
Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm trying to explain that.
It makes so much sense. Do you almost feel like angry at the universe? Because
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But
it's not fair.
It's not fair. But and she on paper, my mum was the advert for everything that you should do to avoid getting Alzheimer's and dementia. You know, ate well, never drunk, never smoked. She went to walking clubs twice a week, walking 4 or 5 miles every time. Had people around her all the time. And I think the pandemic probably had a lot to play with it, because she was on her own, and so that kind of social aspect was taken away from her. So could have gone a little bit, I don't know, stir crazy in in 4 walls. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, whatever other beliefs that I have around whatever happened during the pandemic, it's just an opinion. But yeah, I am angry about it, because she doesn't deserve it.
No, but nor do you, right?
I'll take it. I understand that that's life, and I've been losing my dad. Not that I like my dad more than I like my mum. I love them both as much as each other, but I think losing my dad is the hardest thing, unless obviously I lost Leo or Delilah, or something horrible happened to them, then of course, but I don't think anything can hurt me now. Obviously, it's upsetting about my mum, but I can't do anything about it. At least if it was an illness like cancer or another disease that there's the possibility right now that she could become cured, fantastic. But we're just having to watch someone leave us, basically, like first in the mind, not the body, if that makes sense. So I'm very angry about it all because she didn't deserve it. She never met anyone after my dad because she couldn't. She couldn't move on from it, and yeah, she didn't deserve to lose my dad, but that happened, and then she doesn't deserve. We thought my mum was going to be like knocking on 100. Do you know what I mean? Because of her lifestyle.
From the king, yeah, exactly.
But then in 2 years, it's completely taken away, and obviously I'm a big on health and stuff like that. I couldn't have asked my mum to do anything different, you know. And then when you do see people that are smoking, that are drinking, that are doing all these things and eating obscene amounts of food or whatever and putting themselves, and they're living till however long, fantastic. Like, I'm not angry about them living long at all, but it's like, come on, like, who's dealing this hand here? This is unfair, you know?
I do.
But it's life, and I can't do anything about it, so I just have to get on with it.
But are there any words or anything that you have just from your mum's? I mean, for me, you've painted that picture just of being at the dentist's office together, and I can imagine you sort of like wandering back, perhaps with a sweet in your mouth or whatever, holding her hand, you know, unlocking the door, going home and stuff like that. Is there something that just like runs through your mind of your mum?
There's a funny story about my mum was a giggler. My mum, to picture her, think Barbara Windsor, but with dark hair, right? East End girl, looked the same. Like, we used to say, get out my pub, because that's how my mum talks, and she looks like her. And she worked in this dentist, and I remember one time being in the dentist, and they were short on staff, and so I think my mum was helping actually in the dentist room, not like proper, like hands-on, but just past this, past that, because they were short on staff. And she was working the day that I was getting like braces put on or something like that. And I had this clamp sort of thing in my mouth, keeping my mouth wide open.
I can picture you.
And she's looked over the top, like, so I'm up at the ceiling. She's then come over the top, and she's just burst out laughing. And she's like, "You look like Wallace and Gromit." And I was like, and I've got this thing that if I try and laugh, then the size of my mouth has started to actually split, and she's got the giggles. The dentist has had to send her out and say, "You can't do this," and it was just hilarious. So there's little stories like that, and like she'd snort and giggle like about it, and it was a funny story that we've that stays in my mind all the time. But yeah, no, Mum, she yeah, unfortunately, there won't be anything like that anymore.
No, but that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And so many. You've painted me a lovely picture of her.
Good.
So, I mean, with all of this, you still keep the fitness very much as part of who you are. And I know through your Instagram following, that you're actively trying to encourage every dad to stay strong and take up looking after themselves.
Absolutely.
Right? It's important. I mean, how because you've got over 30,000 followers, how do you feel about them?
Yeah, I it was never intentional, to be honest. And 30,000 isn't huge in the grand scale of things, but the growth that it's the time that it's happened over has been relatively quite quick. But yeah, I had like 2,500 followers that I'd built from just friends and connections that took 10 years to get to. And then what happened was I was 39, approaching 40, and then you start having a new wave of thoughts coming into your head about, right, I'm going to be 40, even if I have a really good innings, I maybe over halfway here. Do you know what I mean? And how quick has that first half gone? And it's only going quicker when you've got kids and other stuff going on. And I've always trained, but probably when I haven't always been the best with like putting on weight. Like if you eat more calories than you're burning, you put on weight, right? And even though I've trained, there were times over between the pandemic and last year that I probably just let myself go with the amount of food that I was consuming. Even though I was still training, I wasn't, like in my head, I was like, well, I'm training all this amount, but I'm not looking any better. But then when I looked at my diet, I love whole milk, like drinking pints of whole milk, but also at about 8 o'clock every night, I get a chocolate monster in my ear. And it's not me that buys it. My missus will buy it, and even if it's locked away, sealed away, I can still smell it through the packets. And I was like, right, there's chocolate in this house, and I'm talking, I would eat a bar of Galaxy sharing person, like a sharing bar, probably every night, and wonder why aren't I getting any leaner here?
I know the feeling.
So when I hit 39, I started following a guy on Instagram who was in fantastic shape. And I mean, he was 21, 22, but he's a Welsh boy called Kyan. And he was showing everything that he trained and ate the day before. So like his video for the day that he posted was everything he trained and ate the day before. And I was like, okay, he's about the same height as me. I reckon if I did get in some decent good shape, I could probably get quite close to that. But he's 21, 22, hasn't got kids. I don't know if he works or not, but he's got time to do all this stuff. And so I was like, is there anything like this but for someone that's my age? And I couldn't find anyone that wasn't a fitness special, like their profession, like just a normal city worker. And so I like this concept of, right, okay, well, he does that to hold himself accountable. That's maybe what I need to do. If I share every day what I train and ate the day before, that's a way of me holding myself accountable, because I can't be sharing that and then if somebody meets me in 3 to 6 months and go, cool, you put on some weight, and it's like, oh, that's a way that I can hold myself accountable. And so I started sharing what I train, and I came up with this little tagline, and then it's, yes, lads and dads, here's everything I trained and ate yesterday to beat the dad bod and be the fittest I've ever been at 40 and beyond. So I'd start every video, every reel exactly the same. And so that in itself is like 7 seconds, right? To say that line. Instagram is very much 5 seconds and people were switching on. So because I'd kind of got people in with that hook, they would then stay on to watch the whole video. And what I was doing, I wasn't showing that I was eating the most cleanest diet. I was just showing what I was training and eating. I'd eat burgers, but I was showing that I was staying consistent with training, but I wasn't over consuming. Yes, I was eating a burger, but over the grand course of the day or the week, I was underneath my calories. But I was showing people, look, you don't have to eat super, super clean. You can eat the foods that you do want, but it's getting into people's heads that it's the volume, because you could think that you're eating, oh, you go, I eat healthy, and it's like, well, okay, you are eating healthy food, but you're eating too much of it. and the calories, they don't lie. So it doesn't matter if they're obviously you want to eat as many nutritiously dense food as possible, whole foods, but I was kind of showing it was more of a more relatable way that, and people were seeing that I was getting in great shape. And every month I'd do like a catch up of, like, this is what I was at the end of May, end of June, end of July, and showing that journey.
Yeah. Do you enjoy doing it?
I've kind of stopped now, because I think people switch off once you're at that point. No one's really interested now, because Like,
you're too perfect.
Well, it's not that you're too perfect. It's just that people don't relate to it as much. I think when you're on the journey, because I saw my followers go from 2,000 to 5,000. That took 6 weeks, which I thought was, wow, that's quick. But then it went from 5,000 to 10,000 in 10 days. And then it went from 10,000 to 20,000 in 11 days. And so I think people like that, following someone on that journey.
Watch what's happening.
But then once you're at that point, it's like people switch off then. Do you know what I mean? So,
but I mean, there is the argument to say that actually once you're at that point, it's the hardest. Yes, that's right. And that's when your mind steps in.
I did it every day for a year.
Yeah.
Even when I was on holidays, I'd have to shoot back to the room and put my head under a towel and do the recording because the voiceover and stuff like that. And I stayed consistent with it. And that's my whole thing about like being disciplined. And trying to get that into guys' heads as well, that you don't have to have this perfect hustle, like get better, like be better every single moment, every single day. And it's like, no, zoom out a little bit. Like there in life, there's going to be stuff that you go up, but it's like like when you see the charts on trading, and they're not, when you're in close on a day to day, they're going like this all day. But if you zoom out over the course of a year, it does look like a straight line. Do you know what I mean?
I really do.
And so that's kind of what I was trying to say. Look, if you do have a bad day, you're going to have a bad day. You are going to go out for a meeting and have beers. Like you can't avoid it, but just be more mindful of it. And I started getting messages from guys, and bear in mind that the demographic that I probably appeal to, they're not the kind of people that send messages to hype someone up. Do you know what I mean? They're very much it's like, yeah, I'm a dad, I'm a man. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to, but I started getting messages of going, I'm so glad I found your page because you've put it in such a way that's not preachy. I'm not saying eat clean all the time. And I think one of my best performing reels was I went to a wedding and I showed everything that I drank, everything that I ate, and I put some food and I put some drink away. And it had got like 250,000 views. And people were like, this is the kind of content we want to see because you're showing the good and the bad. And I think a lot of content creators, they try to give off this perfect life and they probably actually may be unhappy. And whereas I was showing if I was having a bad day, if I didn't train, I'd say, well, I haven't trained today because this happened.
Yes.
And I didn't get the time to fit in, but I'd always bring it back to accountability. And I don't know, people just seem to like that because it was real. Do you know what I mean?
I think it was real rather than perfect. That's the most important thing. Being honest and truthful. So I mean, what I'd like to do, I think, with the sort of time we've got left, is find out about Incentify. This is you're a co-founder of this business, but what I know is that on Monday you had your very first Incentive 5K run. Yeah. What was that about?
So actually, I've actually been doing the Incentive 5Ks, branding it that, for over a year and a half now, but. What I wanted to do is I didn't want to bring out a health and well-being product and then show as the founder that only once it's been brought out that I'm doing health and fitness stuff and community stuff. So I have actually been doing this Incentive 5K every Thursday morning, 7:30 a.m. start at the Royal Exchange in Bank, and sometimes it's me on my own. Sometimes people don't turn up, but I turn up every week. And I want that to kind of be known as part of the story, not one of these founders that, oh, you're only getting into health and wellness and community now, you've got a product out there. It's like, no, this has been going on for a year and a half. I've shown up in rain, snow, whatever. Sometimes by myself, no one turns up. Sometimes 5 people, 4 people. But it's part of like, that's part of my routine now. Like I'm going. If nobody comes, I get to go for a 5K on my own, you know? So that has been happening on the side, but now I think where we've been raising investment for Incentify, we've had a really successful last 5 or 6 weeks with bringing some money in, and we were like, right, let's we brought in a videographer and a photographer for the day, and we got some shots of us around London. And then the last part of the day, because we hired this videographer for the day, got him for 8 hours. So he was like, right, in these 8 hours, let's get in as much as we can. And so we reached out to this, there's a new matcha smoothie place in Soho called Happiness. We reached out to them and said, could we start this be like, because people want a bag drop, and we'll put our car behind the bar, everyone gets a smoothie afterwards and get some photos and stuff like that. So it was, we got some great shots of everyone outside the Piccadilly lights and stuff like that. We just got the photos back yesterday and they're brilliant. So
does it feel like the start of something?
It really does, yeah.
How does that feel?
But it does, because it's so hard getting a business up off the ground when you've got no money. And I can see why companies, like, you can take 2 routes. You can take the building it organically, and it takes time, or you go and raise money and you get a big cash injection and you can start spending. And we haven't got huge amounts of cash, but I suppose where, like I said, I've been skint in my life, I know how to now control money and get the most out of it. So we was like, let's get these photos, and I want our users to be our marketing team. Do you know what I mean? And like, so what I've done is,
because they love it.
Yeah, they love it, and there is a real buzz around health and wellness at the moment, and community stuff, because right now, even though we're connected through our phones and everything like that, we're probably the most disconnected we've actually ever been. And that's why I think these community workouts and community runs and stuff like that are doing such a good thing, because people are being forced to learn how to speak to people again, if that makes sense. I think that's a skill that's kind of been lost over the last 5 years, that people don't know how to talk to anyone. But and I'm just so glad that it's come about that health and wellness is now and these like pop-up fit clubs and stuff like that are the way that people are connecting again. So yeah, and what we've done is we've got all the photos back, and there's like 600 of these photos, and I've created a folder, and everyone that comes, I share the link with them, so they've got access to all these photos, and they're professional photographs, which not a lot of people can get. And then they have these photos, they then share them, they tag us in it, and hopefully it starts building a bit of a name. And we've already had people say, 5 of my friends have said, when's the next one? So hopefully we'll grow something nice from it. That's going to be our flagship sort of event, the Incentive 5K. It just fits, the branding of it just fits so nicely. But we want to do Incentive 5-a-side tournaments. We want to do, we even saw these things the other day. It's, it could be something that we do at the end of a 5K run, but they're like sober raves, like coffee, like, what do they call it? Yeah. Cafe raves, where we have DJ and everything like that, but everyone's sober. And we'd call that like it's Incentive Vibe or something like that. And yeah, we've got so many ideas that we want to do that bring community together. Like, we don't just want to be a platform that in the employee benefits and employee benefits space. I'd probably say a lot of people have employee platforms that they don't even know they've got, because they're just so vanilla. They're so like, oh, have I got that? I didn't even know that I had access to that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we want to disrupt that industry, and the way that we described it is like, they shouldn't really be called employee benefits, because life now, I feel like life now isn't about, right, this is my work, this is my life. They're they very much blend together now. Do you know what I mean? If someone's a creative, they're a creative not just at work, they're a creative in the way that they look at the world, you know? So it's almost trying to make this a consumer brand, but within the employee space. But they do cross over because it's a benefit that your company gives you, but it supports you in the rest of your life, if that makes lifestyle. So
okay.
Yeah.
To me, our conversation together and meeting you properly has been a really beautiful experience. I love the kindness and the generosity that you have, but also the sparkle in your eye about life tomorrow and the next day and what might happen and what could happen. But the biggest thing about what you can create to happen, I think that is one of the lessons that I'm going to be taking away, that life is about what you make it.
100%.
If you boiled down to one line, a phrase or something that was very strong that you would want to take away with you, what would it be for yourself, for living, for life?
You're the master of your own destiny. And I know it's a very cliche saying, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So if you go into things thinking that you can't do something, you won't do it. But if you think, I can do that, if someone else has done it, then why can't I? I can do that. And that is the kind of attitude that I do have for everything that I approach is, I can do that. So yeah, you're the master of your own destiny. Believe me, there's times where I think, God, is this going to be worth it? Is this worth it? And then if I have to go through 4 or 5 years of stress to bring out a product and a platform that helps hundreds of thousands, if not millions, which we hope, improve their life, then I'll take that. Do you know what I mean? Like that is my purpose now. My purpose is, like, I suppose how I sum it up is, it all comes back to my dad. Is my dad was, up until the age of 40, was super slim. And then between the age of 40 to 57, that's where probably after work he'd have a couple of beers, and that obviously compounding works in both ways. You know, it's compounding. Everyone thinks, compound interest or compound profit. Yes, it works on a positive scale, but it also works on a negative scale. Like, you don't wake up after one day and you've put on 4 stone. Do you know what I mean? That takes time to get to that. And so I think, tying it kind of all back to my dad is that I don't want any young man, kid, to go through what I've gone through the last 20 years, 21 years. And if I can help one kid not have to go through that, then I'm happy with that. And as a dad and as a person, I think you do have to. Obviously, people are going through so much at the moment, and I completely get that. And life isn't rosy, and I'm definitely not saying life is right. Life is tough, but if you are lucky enough to wake up every morning, then you've got opportunity in front of you. You've got something in front of you, and then it's down to you and your mindset whether you're going to do something to change it. And you hear all these stories. They can't be lies. Do you know what I mean? Of people that dropped out of school, that can't read and write, but they still end up becoming like, my view is, you get people that go, yeah, but they're one-offs. My view is, that You might think if you have that attitude, then you're going to always have then you won't get there. Whereas my attitude is, well, if they've done it, I can do it. So, if you're lucky enough to have woken up this morning, then you have got the opportunity to make something of tomorrow.
This is Story Locker. That's Paul Kelbie.